Sound muted. Sound resumed.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second semi-final for round 1 of the León Cupra Eurocup. My name is Edward Hunter, I'm with my co-commentator Jos, who's going to be helping me today, and we're just filling in for the other guys. Yeah, so, very exciting round. It's first semi-final won by Miguel Ballesta. It made a bad start and then got passed by Krystian Kwiatkowski, of course. Won the precursor series, the León Eurocup, which took place last year. And of course, Krystian Kwiatkowski last year won the big prize. He actually secured it in a really tense shootout here in Barcelona, where he performed really well. And yesterday, Miguel Ballesta got the better of him, so or earlier today, rather. Sorry. And yeah, but they won't be driving in this semi-final. We've got the other set of drivers who'll be competing, and they're all pretty talented, I think. I'm not sure if Graham Carroll is here today, because he's someone I rate quite highly. He was supposed to be driving in this group, but I see 15 on the timing screen, and all good drivers mainly from Spain, it must be said, but also we get some from other nations such as Poland who do very well. And yeah, I believe we're watching Jorge San Andres doing a quick. I think they're doing a quick practice run at the moment while they're having their race briefing, and we're just waiting for things to start. So anyway, so Joss, how are you? I'm sorry, I know I got you to fill in at the last minute here, but are you excited? Is there anything you really want to know about the Seat León cars and how the series works?
Is there anything I want to know about?
Like, help. Yeah.
Oh well, no. I've just been watching the other semi-final with the other casters, so I know a bit what's going to happen. So I guess all will be good.
Yeah. So there are these two semi-finals, and I believe I think the guys who make it through these two semi-finals will face off in two finals tomorrow. The second of which is a reverse grid race. So I forget what the cutoff is. Is it top 10 who make it through, or is
no,
it
top 15? 15.
Top 15. That's it. That's why it shows a 15 on the timing screen. Okay, so I'm starting to follow it now myself, and yeah, I remember commentating last year, and sort of as we see Adria Perez going a bit wide on the gravel there, obviously pushing a bit hard, trying to just more than you would in the actual race, I think. Just well, there's going to be. I'm pretty sure there's the qualifying session, of course, to follow before the race. But we've got at the moment, while I'm looking at the time screens, we have Pepo de Jerez. Oh, yeah, Pepo de Jerez. Sorry, I may have butchered that last name there. On a 149.7. Yes, Jerez there, and that looks like a pretty strong time to me. I think Ballesta was sort of in the. I can't remember exactly, but I believe it was a 148. So I can't remember he set 148 last year, which I think was good enough for pole. But the Seat León car, I think about 350 brake horsepower, if I'm not mistaken, and so they're really quite quick and yeah, very fun machines to drive. And you see the guys sliding around into some of these corners, especially I think turn 4 is quite a tough narrow one, but we've just seen him going through right now. And Yeah, I think anyone always who goes on the grass again during this practice lap. So that's Adria Perez actually, and yeah, it's always really good fun to watch these guys. I think. So I'm desperately trying to fill the time, and I'm getting distracted because I can hear things happening in the background. I haven't shut my door properly. Is it okay if I just shut the door very quickly? I'll be right back. Oh, okay. So someone else is shutting it for me. Don't worry. Okay. So anyway, I'm trying to remember if I've seen any of these guys from last year, and I remember Adria Perez vaguely, and I also think David Penna was none of these guys really stood out to me. So I think it's well, maybe they're all new. I think so. It's going to be interesting to see who really impresses us today in this semi-final. As we see some slowing on the straight, and I think they're all just still going through the briefing, and we're waiting for the qualifying session to start. Yeah, we're having a little bit of a technical issue here that we can't really. We're getting a very laggy view, I think, compared to what people on the live stream are seeing. But yeah, I don't think it's too bad. I think we can see fine. It's just, like I say, it's a little bit laggy. And if I'm not mistaken, they're all in the garage now, so yeah, we're just really waiting. Barcelona, of course, it's a great little circuit. It's you've got a bit of a chicane in turn one at the back, a long straight. That's probably the best overtaking spot, I believe. And then you've got the long turn through, which is right-hander, puts a lot of wear on the tires. Tire wear could be quite critical today, especially in these cars. But I suspect they're all going to manage it quite well. We saw in the previous race they were saying, I think, that tyre wear wasn't going to kick in until about lap 8, and it was 12 laps in all, I think. So I believe this race will be, yeah, almost definitely going to be the same amount of laps as the first semi-final. And so Joss, have you ever, how much do you know about Cloud Sport and the series that they do? Because they've done the León Eurocup, and they've also done the Formula E Road to Vegas competition that we know about. And I've commentated on both of those. They were a lot of fun, a lot of really high quality drivers competing in all of them for some great prizes. Do you think if you were taking part, you'd be encouraged by the chance to drive like a real car in a race?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's pretty fun. Drive like a realistic racing game. I
Because you
don't
and me,
really
we play
know.
Trackmania, so it's not really what we're
Yeah,
used
but
to exactly.
exactly.
Loops and
It's like
stuff, yeah.
it's an entire different of racing game. I
Don't get me
it would
wrong, we do
certainly.
see some pretty crazy stuff. Sometimes I think I remember watching qualifying here for this race, the finale of this series last year, and I saw someone flip it at the chicane because it's got really big curbs, and if you go in a bit too fast, the car
Yeah.
pulls over. It's quite funny and a little bit scary if you're not expecting it.
Yeah, well,
But
I think it would be really fun to try out this type of racing game. I've never been really into it myself, into like realistic racing games. But I certainly wanna do it sometime to see how if I'm actually
any
a
good?
little able to drive this. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure we could, even if you were a little slow at first, I'm sure we could get the hang of it. Maybe one of these guys could give you a bit of tuition. I know Balester is very good. Maybe we should ask him.
Yeah, I saw in the other semi-final. Indeed, he was struggling in the
Yeah.
start, but
It's interesting because Balester also did the Formula E Road to Vegas. He wasn't quite as successful. The only thing that was notable that I remember seeing him doing Road to Vegas was in the qualifier in Paris. He basically, because there's a mandatory pit stop in Formula E to change cars, and he basically left it out to the last possible second. Let the battery did about 3/4 of the race before making his pit stop. He ended up he wasn't one of the faster drivers that day, it had to be said, and he ended up holding up a lot of the front runners, and sort of it was quite action-packed and exciting for us to watch as commentating. But I think for those, he probably won't want to be reminded of this, so it's a bit rude of me to talk about it. But I'm just filling air, and But yeah, I thought it was interesting how in a single seater he seems not to be quite as confident, but in these León cars, especially around Barcelona, has to be said, one of his better tracks, he's really quick and sort of able to take the fight to guys like Kwiatkowski. And it's going to be interesting to see. It's effectively going to be a rematch of the last series between Kwiatkowski, Balesta, and maybe Nikian Wisniewski, although he was a little bit further behind in, I think he was in 5th, wasn't he, in the end? Yeah, Nikian Wisniewski, because he was the 3rd man who went into the finale at Barcelona with a chance of maybe taking the title, but he got involved in an incident and it didn't quite work out for him. But still a very good driver, Wisniewski, and again he showed up in Road to Vegas as well. As for these guys, we're just seeing them set up. Pepe de Harris still at the fastest time a while ago, the 49.7. It looks like, if I'm not mistaken, he's probably going to be them man to beat, judging on the lap times that the others have set in the 150s. But you never know. Someone could spring a surprise. Someone could be sandbagging right now. And
yeah, so Leicester in the semi-final did a best lap of 1:48.31.
That's what I thought. It was 1:48. Yeah.
So that's still 1.4 seconds faster in a lap.
Yeah. So.
But they, of
these
course,
guys, if they do
make
the judging from so far, unless some of them start spinning up a little bit, if they do make the final, they're going to be a little bit of a disadvantage, I think. And let's hope that we don't have. Let's hope, because the way the grid works out, I believe it's based on your performance in these semi-finals, if I remember correctly. So I really hope that we don't have a one side of the grid that's really slow from this semi-final, and the other side that's really quick from the first semi-final.
Yeah, that would.
That could be a bit of a problem, but we'll have to see, because I think in a race sometimes you end up, it's more about defending position. And we're watching practice. Oh, as we see someone sliding rather luridly there in the blue car. Not sure who that was, because I can't quite see the. It's Jordi San Andres. Yeah, the guy who's 4th place at the moment, 6/10 behind De La Harris's time. And we've just been told that we're watching the practice at the moment, so.
Still only one player under the 150 in this briefing.
Yeah, I think the briefing is the session they're having in the TeamSpeak. So they're just
whatever.
The practice session is literally them just driving around, and so usually just to help them iron out. It's just something to do while they're talking to each other. It means you can also fix an issue if someone is having connection issues or something. Okay. Oh, and there's also the rules, of course, that they've got to be informed of by the race director.
Yes.
So let's hope we don't see too many warnings and too many crashes and bumping into each other, because, like I said, if you get the feeling seeing some of the times, as we see, Adria Perez has actually set a very decent time recently, 1:49.7, only a minuscule, a couple of hundredths behind, 300ths behind De La Harris's time. So that's encouraging. It might not be a completely one-horse race then, or it could be that even more guys are sandbagging. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I just want to say about the season in general. We have the original León Eurocup from last year. It had, I believe there were, sorry, 3 or 4 meetings, so it wasn't a long championship at all. And we've got 7 meetings this time, double it, and they take place all the way to November actually. So it's feels much more of a championship rather than a mini series, which I think is definitely a good thing. Although it's going to mean that across the championship, it's going to be availability is going to become much more of a factor in terms of making sure you're there at all the races and picking up points, not just winning one and then having to miss one, etc., etc. I think that's definitely going to factor in the overall points at the end of the season. And of course, we've got Barcelona this weekend. We have Silverstone the weekend after, and I believe qualifying has just started. I'll just briefly not the weekend after July 1st, so 2 weeks time, I think. Or yeah, I'm just trying to get it sorted in my mind because it's a little bit hard to remember what weekend is when. So Silverstone is July 1st to 9th. That's the practice, with the 9th being the final race day. We'll have the finals. Estoril is July 22nd to 30th. And we have Spa, September 2nd to 10th. Monza, September 23rd to October 1st. Nürburgring, October 21st to 29th. And then the final round, the Red Bull Ring in Austria, November 4th to 12th. So I think that's a pretty good season. All really good circuits, of course, in Europe, which makes sense because it's a León Eurocup. And yeah, we have 2 minutes a lap to this session so far, and I believe we're seeing some of them just starting out on their laps now. So yeah, we'll have to see who crosses the timing line first. I'm just running out of things to talk about here. So Joss, are you familiar with the Barcelona circuit at all? Because I was trying to get a little bit of a track guide earlier, and then I sort of got sidetracked. So
Oh.
yeah, I believe there's.
Well, I just from the first semi-final, I've seen it, and I saw that the chicane.
Yeah, it's a pretty well-known track from Formula One. Obviously, they hold the Spanish Grand Prix here. Like I said, there's a sort of really long chicane at turn 1, which follows the long main straight, and that seems to be probably the main passing opportunity because you sort of draft each other on the straight. Then we've got the long right-hander, which is turn 3, of course, which really wears out the tyres a bit. Then we have turn 4, which, if you remember turn 3 and 4, anyone who watched the Formula 1 race the previous year, 2016, remember that's where Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg ran into each other and took each other out of the race, which let your countryman, Max Verstappen, win that race. Of course, Max Verstappen himself actually a pretty prominent sim racer when he's not doing Formula 1, of course, driving for Team Redline, of course, definitely one of the biggest teams in sim racing at the moment, and definitely for R Factor and for iRacing, of course. And so after turn 4, which is a really tight right-hander, we have a short straight to turn 3, which is good overtaking opportunity if you sort of reach people, catch people out on the inside, because it's a very tight 90-degree left-hander basically. Then we have then the next major trouble corner really is turn 5 and 6, which is another sort of little chicane, but you don't really have to. It's not a really tight chicane, and rarely do we see overtakes do unless someone gets a really good run out of it. The main next overtaking spot is I believe turn 9, which is just after, and that is that's a full throttle, I believe, right-hander, isn't it? And I'm not sure exactly what speed you go through there in the León Cup, but I think in Formula 1 they have a lot down. As we're seeing the first laps coming in now from Johan Rieg? Joan Rieg. Okay, sorry.
I don't know.
I think we may both be pronouncing them wrongly there.
Probably, yes.
Bad form, I guess.
But he is being overtaken already.
Yeah, definitely. So
the first
Perez,
149.
Fastest. Yeah, 149. But we're hoping to see a couple of them reach the 48. So Marc Perez, I wonder if he's related to Adria, has just set the fastest time, 4:10, nearly half a second faster than Adria's time, actually.
Yes.
And then we've got Jordi San Andres, Esteban Tellez, Gabriel Martin Alvarado. As we see, Pepe de Jerez has set a time, and he's 0.6 of a second behind Marc Perez's time, 1:49.376. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see as the session goes on whether they gain a bit more confidence, or whether the top runners have set their best times, and maybe we'll begin to see the guys a bit further down changing positions and stuff for the grid anyway. And
is this
5 drivers haven't set times yet. So, one of them's in the pits. The others are all running on track, I think. You were saying something else?
No, never mind.
Oh, okay, sorry. Alright, so what are you watching on track at the moment? Can't tell because there's a bit of a timing screen on the way. On our screen anyway. We're watching Edouard Bedoya, who is middle of his lap. I don't think he's set a time yet. Definitely outside the top 15 if he has. Yeah, 21st, so he's not set a time yet.
No, he doesn't.
And he's just going to the end of his lap, so he should be hitting the third sector split here. We'll see if this is a good lap, or maybe it's just going to get him on the board somewhere. Look at the timing screens. Edouard, yeah, it's not giving me any data for Edouard, so maybe he's on his out lap actually. But at the top, yeah, the order at the moment still with 13 minutes left in the session is Marc Perez 149.3, and then we have Adria Perez 4 tenths behind Pepe de Jerez, 2 tenths behind Adria. Then we have Jordi San Andres in third, Esteban Tellez in fifth, Gabriel Martin Averaldo in sixth, Ivan San Jose in seventh, Pepe Gil in eighth, Joan or Joanne Rieg, we'll have to ask him about that afterwards, in ninth, Ibal Onodi in 10th, Jose Miguel Rosilo in 11th. Then rounding out the top 15 we have Daniel Biller, Juan Garrido, Victor Arula, and Miguel A. Esteves. At the present moment, of course, that could still change as the laps count down and times improve. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, it would be fun to see 148 being driven here, but so far only
Yeah,
2 times under the 150.
That would definitely be good news, I think, for it definitely maybe
the
scare
final,
some of the guys who made it through the first semi-final, because they're probably watching this, or they're more likely they'll be watching without a buzz muted, because I wouldn't listen to me commentate all the time, although maybe I'm being a bit harsh on myself. But but yeah, they're most likely watching this and wondering to themselves, well, we saw the first semi-final, we were setting much better times than this, so these guys shouldn't be too much of a threat to us. But
in the meantime,
if some of them start improving, they might change that opinion.
Oh, 2 improvements actually. Fran Castano now at the 5th place, and David Pena with another 149. But it is 149.
Yeah, it's a very good time by Castano in 5th, 8 tenths down. So he could definitely be a factor in the battle for the win here, though of course, it being the problem is, of course, when we get to the race itself, is that drivers will very much be thinking to themselves, especially if they're in the top 15, or just in the top 15 at the lower end, they'll probably not be, they'll be trying to maintain position rather than gain position. Of course, you want a better spot for the final, obviously, but you also don't want to make a silly mistake and crash out. And so
yes,
it depends who is going to be more aggressive in terms of their temperament. And yeah, so just nearly 11 minutes left to go, and the order remains pretty much the same. Oh, we've just seen Pepe de Jerez set a slightly faster time, move up to second with a.
And Marc Perez set actually the first 148.
Oh yeah, he has actually.
9.5.
Yes, and Marc Perez has improved his lead, and Pepe de Jerez has got in between the Perez namesakes. I don't want to call them brothers or relations or anything, because I could be wrong on that. It's not an uncommon name, of course. You know, Sergio Perez in F1 as well. So, but yeah, that's definitely interesting. Could shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, a big difference.
Have you seen someone else improve?
First and second. The same
yeah,
difference as
it definitely looks like
first semi-final, but it can still change, of course.
Yeah, of course, because Miguel Balester, of course, one of his real big strengths on this track is qualifying. But in the starts, were definitely, well, we saw it today, and we've also seen it at the end of last year. He basically one of the reasons why he came into the final round leading over Christian Kwiatkowski, ended up losing to him largely because of a bad start he made. You see Gabriel Martin Averaldo hitting the barrier at the chicane in the last corner, so he's definitely going to want to reset his, he's going to sit down, dust himself off, and try again, I think. So that's the beauty of sim racing as well, in terms of qualifying. At least if you make a little mistake, it doesn't ruin the session or stop it. You just go back to the garage, you sort of get a drink of water or whatever, and think about what you've done, of course, and then you go back out and try and do better again. There's no real sort of the punishment isn't excessively high, as we just dropped below with 10 minutes to go on our screen. So yeah, it's difficult to say who I think can challenge Marc Perez this time. I think Andrea Perez might have a little bit more in the tank, and judging on what we saw him do in the practice session just before this. But yeah, like I said, I think maybe it's more just getting into the top 15 in terms of for the race. Of course, we may see retirements and all sorts of drama in the race, but the man on the verge of getting into the top 15 at the moment is Daniel Buller in 16th, who is just a 10th, under a 10th actually, behind Jose Miguel Rezilo. And if everyone finishes where they qualify, which I hope not, that'd be a bit boring, then that means that Jose would get in and Daniel Buller would miss out and wouldn't be needed tomorrow, which would be a shame for him.
In the meantime,
we're watching Felipe Gil.
Yeah.
Yes, where is Felipe Gil in the order? He's 8th, and definitely want to improve his position, of course, like everyone does. And his best lap is 150.3. Let's see how this current lap is going. He's just cast through the first split now, I believe. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think anyone's on an improved lap at the moment. It looks like everyone is slower than their best by either a few tenths or more than a few tenths. And
second place has been overtaken by Adria Perez again. In the meantime.
Yes, I was just about to mention that. Good lap by Adria. Still 3 tenths behind Marc Perez, but he's closed the gap, and of course overtaken Peppo. And Peppo falling down again as David Penner out of nowhere has set a great lap. Only 3 tenths down. Is that on Adria or Marc Perez? Yeah, only a tenth down on Adria Perez. Yeah, so it's starting to close up a bit at the top, which is good to see as the session's gone on. 7 minutes left to go, and yeah, not seen too many guys crashing out so far, apart from who was it? It was I can't remember. I think it was Averaldo who hit the barrier at the chicane and ruined his lap. But I don't think anyone else is really. We've seen some decent laps. We haven't seen anyone pushing too hard yet. I think as we see Marc Perez not improve. I don't think he has improved. Yeah, he's still on the 48.9. But we were saying earlier that we'd be impressed if we could get into the 48s, and Marc Perez has done that now. So that's definitely bodes well if he can finish the final if he can finish this race coming out in the lead, and then that would probably put him in a pretty good position for the final. So I messed up that sentence completely there. But we'll switch back to Felipe Gil now with 6 minutes to go, and Felipe still in 8th. And is he improving at the moment? No, he's 4 tenths down on his best lap. So yeah, I can't see Felipe Gil making too much of an impression further up the order.
Everyone has set a qualification time.
Yep,
also, Edouard Bedoya in the last place at the moment with a 151.73.
Yeah, that puts him 2.7 recurring seconds down on Marc Perez's pole time at the moment. Who's done the most laps out of interest? It looks like the front runners, the two Perez guys have both set 9 laps.
But also the 9th and the 20th place actually have set 9 laps.
Yeah. So,
Juan Carlos Gomez in 10th place.
It's important to fit in as many attempts as possible, I guess. Although it is impressive someone to set a pole time for 1 lap, but realistically you're not going to see that too much. You see a couple of cones knocked over at turn 9 actually, which is odd to see. Never expect to see cones falling over like that. But it means that I was saying that people weren't pushing, but it seems like someone is pushing out there, or at least making a mistake and going into the gravel. I was pretty sure that's a flat corner though, although it is pretty tricky, especially when you don't have the downforce that a Formula 1 car has. And but yeah, 5 minutes left to go now, and the order still: Marc Perez, Adria Perez, David Penner in 3rd, of course, with a very impressive lap out of nowhere, fairly late in the session. Pepe de Jerez in 4th, Ibai on Andy in 5th, Jorge San Andres in 6th, Fran Castano in 7th, Felipe Gil in 8th, Joan Reed in 9th, Juan Jurado in 10th, Daniel Antiquara in 11th, Gabriel Martin Everaldo in 12th, Esteban Tellez in 13th, Ivan San Jose in 14th, and Jorge Miguel Rosilo in 15th. Those are the guys, of course, that those are the positions, of course, that we need to worry about for the final, as I said earlier. And not long left in this session then, and still not many improvements. It seems when people do improve, we seem to miss it. Although Daniel Buller a little bit faster in fifth. He's in 16th at the moment. He's gone a little bit faster in the second sector, but he had a didn't have that impressive first sector. It's slower than his best. And two guys in the pits. That's Rosillo and Gomez, or Miguel Rosillo and Carlos Gomez. Not sure if those are middle names or double-barreled last names. But yeah, dude, I don't see anyone snatching pole from Mark Perez, but I wouldn't be surprised if Adria maybe gets a little bit closer. Seems to have been threatening to do for some time. Pepe de Heras down by a 10th on his 49.6. So
yeah, immediate. In the meantime, the 5th player that drives under 150, Jordi San Andres, drives a 149.96.
Ah, so he's improved slightly then.
Yes. Don't know which place he was on before, but
yeah, I think he was a little bit further down. So you're right. I'm not sure how many positions he's gained, but he's definitely gained at least a couple. Good. Good thing about this series is I believe the cars are all numbered. So I'm looking at the timing screen number.
yeah, I believe what I saw in the other semi-final, the cars in the race are numbered as the number on your car was the place you got in the qualification.
Ah,
in the real race.
That's definitely going to help for us commentating, I think. So we're watching it on Andy at the moment, and in the bright green car. What number is he using? 17, I think. I just saw a flash there. Did quite go in the gravel there, but using all of the road and a little bit more. Is this a good lap for him? Is he's just finishing it off now? Where is he bound? Yeah, he's 6th, and he was a little bit faster in sector 2, but 4 tenths down overall. So I don't think this is quite going to be the lap that shoots him into pole position, but we'll see. Nope, just under a 10th down actually, so a good little effort, but not quite good enough to move up. And I'm taking away now, not long left, only a minute now. So anyone who wants to really challenge Mark Perez from Tavolny needs to get a move on. We're watching Adria Perez right now, middle of his lap, and he is look. No, it doesn't say he's faster. I'm looking at it's Penna who's was a little bit faster in the first sector, although he's a 10th down now. David Penna, but I don't think there's just not enough time to get in another lap. And he's not on a really good one right now. So Adria still 2 tenths down, I think, on his best on that previous lap. Yeah, well, as qualifying is just coming to an end now. Like I said, no one's seemingly improving, so Mark Perez pretty assured of pole, but we've just been reminded that there's a formation lap, of course, before the race starts. They don't just immediately shoot off the grid. We have to watch them do a formation lap, just to warm the brakes and tyres as well.
This I just watched the of the qualification of semi-final. It actually seems that in this qualification times are slightly better, because to get top 50 in the qualification of the first semi-final, you had to get a 1.5080, and that is like 19th place in this one. So there are slightly more times driven under 1.
Yeah, I'm going to have to eat what I said earlier about this being a worse set of drivers in this semi-final, because for what you said of the qualifying times, that's disproved that. Maybe I think that the top guys in that one were very good, but maybe this lot as a whole are
that is
slightly
definitely
faster
true.
over one lap.
Because in the first qualification, the fastest time was 1:48.28.
Yeah.
So that's a lot faster.
The quality's just ended now, so let's briefly, while we're waiting for the formation lap to begin and the grid to form, let's go through the order in its entirety. So Marc Perez on pole. Oh, Pepe de Harris did actually set a best. I just noticed that he did actually set a better lap right at the end there to overtake Adria Perez, and he was 2 tenths down on Marc Perez though. So Marc Perez on pole, Pepe de Harris alongside him, and then on the second row we have Adria Perez and David Penna. Jordi San Andres is on the third row with Felipe Gil in 6th, so Felipe Gil did actually move up a place there, or 2 places rather. Ibal Anandi will start from 7th, along with Daniel Antequera in 8th. Esteban Tellez is in 9th, with Fran Castano in 10th behind him. Carlos Legardera, is in 11th, with Juan Carlos Gomez in 12th behind him. Then we have Johan Rieg, Ivan San Jose, Juan Jurado, Gabriel Martin Alvarado, Miguel A. Estevez, Jose Miguel Rosillo, Daniel Bula, Victor Urella, Jose Luis Calvo, and Edouard Bader at the back. He did improve his time by a 10th, Edouard Bader. So even him right at the back is still improving and got a little bit to fight for. Maybe who knows, if there's some retirements, some kind of drama, he can get into that top 15 and be a factor in tomorrow's race, tomorrow's final rather. So solid qualifying session there. Marc Perez definitely stamping his authority on the grid for this semi-final, but yeah, we'll have to see what his starts are like, of course. But looks very good for him so far, I think, Joss. And yeah, I think while we're waiting, it might be a good idea to take a very short break, not speak for a little bit until we hear about the warm-up lap happening, because there's not too much to talk about, and I think we need to give people a rest. I'm just going to get a very quick drink of water, if that's alright. Right, sorry about that short break. We're back now, and we're just going for a 5-minute warm-up right now. Although I know the timer says a bit longer than 5 minutes, but
the session will be stopped after once we get to about 55 minutes remaining in the warm-up. We'll switch over to the race and do the warm-up lap and then the race. So I'm sorry about the confusion there. I'm just talking about the warm-up lap, and that sort of went without saying. But anyway, looks like I said earlier, I think tyre wear is going to be a big factor here in terms of keeping the tyres alive throughout the semi-final. Because if you abuse them, if you're turning a bit too tightly and putting wear on them, braking really late and aggressively locking up, then that's gonna wear the tyres out, and you could lose positions quite quickly, especially on some of the long corners if you haven't got the grip remaining. I don't think we're going to see any pit stops because I think the trade-off advantage is we watch on the stream, we see a couple of cars lining up at the start line doing a few practice starts, and that's important part of the preparation for the start. So it was quite impressive to see Pepe de Harris get in between the two Perez drivers, or the two drivers whose last names are Perez, Mark and Adrian. Do you think that he's going to surprise us in the race, Ross, or do you reckon it's going to be a case of him hanging back and just waiting for Mark Perez to maybe make a mistake?
I don't know. Of course, it will be it could be the same as with the, how was he called, Bollinger, Bollester. It was
Ballester, Miguel Ballester.
Yeah, people that are really good in the qualification, being not as good in the real race. So I can't really say anything about whether he will deny the first two places to the Perez players.
Yeah, I think it's a case of qualification being sort of a good kind of form book to see who, going into the race, to see who should be up there or who potentially can be up there over one lap at least. In the race, it's more about endurance and not making a mistake, and that's something that's always a little bit hard to read from the timesheet sometimes. You have to look at several laps consecutively, obviously.
Exactly. The first time.
One thing we haven't talked much about, I just remembered. Sorry, go on.
The first times in the warm-up are in.
Yeah,
I was just
a little
to say
bit. None of them are too impressive. The best is Penna on 150.4. So more just them going through the lap. It's all just kind of mental preparation, I think, for the semi-final, and making sure that you get everything right. But I was just going to say one thing we haven't talked too much about is the actual prize for this series, for the winner, of course. And I mentioned Christian Kwiatkowski won it last year, and he got a run in the. Was it Motorland Aragon? He got run a very long endurance race in the real life set León, and along with Jordi Genet and another driver, and they what their team won basically overall, which I thought was really impressive considering that Christian Kwiatkowski I don't think could have driven in a real life racing event until then, and so the winner this time is. The prize this time, rather, is to get some tuition with Jordi Genet. I'm not sure it says anywhere what track it is that they'll be doing this tuition on. It's a chance to have I think it'd be great to have a driving lesson with him because Jordi Genet, very experienced racer in tin tops, and of course with Seat. And I believe he did a World Touring Car Championship for a time and was fairly successful. So yeah, definitely a great brand ambassador to have. Christian Kwiatkowski definitely benefited from it, and whoever wins this season, it could be Kwiatkowski again, of course. There's nothing precluding him from entering, and good to see him back again, of course, because he's an extremely talented driver. But as we see the server resetting now, and I think we're about to have the grid form in front of us. So yeah, very excited to see racing action begin. No more messing around now. Okay, thanks for that. So we're just waiting for the warm-up to end the last couple of seconds, I think. There we go. Yep. So as soon as we're waiting for the server to be repopulated. And then the formation lap will begin, of course, but we have to wait for all of them to appear. There we go. I think we're just waiting on the man in 6th place there, which was Felipe Gil, of course, just in. Although it could be a lag on our end or whatever. It means we couldn't see him in time. But
0 seconds.
yeah,
They're going.
We're just seeing the formation lap starting now. Is this the formation lap or? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the formation lap. So they're putting the heat into the tyres, of course, making sure the brakes are up to temperature as well. And one last time, drive the circuit, anything other than race mode, of course. As he's sort of running a little bit onto the runoff there. That was the green car of, that wasn't San Andreas, was it? It was number 17, which is, of course, look at the time screen. 17 is that is Ibai Andy. I've been calling him Ibao. I keep getting my I's and L's mixed up, but it's Ibai on Andy who went off there a little bit, but he seems to have stabilised now and got back into the rhythm of things in this warm-up lap. And those last-minute preparations, you got to decide. There's a little bit of strategy, like I mentioned, with eyewear, but most of it's just going to be pure flat-out racing and just every man for himself. So, by now, these guys know where all the good overtaking opportunities are. They know where it's easy to make mistakes, of course. We might even see a little bit of bumping and barging if the moment calls for it. This is a real big chance now to get into that final. And anyone who's outside the top 15 is going to be, they've got nothing to lose really, they're going to go for it. But the guys inside the top 15 are going to be defending like crazy. Of course, that is unless they start fighting with each other. But anyway, so Marc Perez now just going through the last corner, starting his grid spot and getting ready to stop. Make sure you'll stop in the right place, guys. I've seen it before, people mess it up and it often completely screws with the start procedure. Right, so keep an eye out, Jos, for anyone stalling. I don't think anyone's going to stall, but some will definitely going to need a better start than others. And as we see the red car, the bright red car, was reversing a bit there to get in the spot. And we're, of course, waiting for Edouard Bedoya just to get into place at the back.
Everyone is there now, I believe.
Yep, looks like it. So the lights come on now. 1 light, 3 lights, 4 lights. The 5th light comes on. And the León Cupra Eurocup second semi-final at Barcelona begins. And it's a solid start by Marc Perez. With he's able to keep Pepe de Jerez behind him going into turn 1. And in fact, Pepe de Jerez having to defend from Adria Perez a little bit. It looks like they all got away safely. A couple of position changes, 5th place changing there. I believe, I think San Andreas may have lost out to David Penna there, or other way around.
Yeah, other way around.
Yes, San Andreas has passed David Penna in turn 2. And otherwise, not too many significant position changes. It looked to me like Marc Perez, or is that the normal line, running right onto the on the edge of the track there, nearly into the gravel.
In fact, Ivan San Jose has already given up, or something happened to him because he has a DNF.
Ooh,
he hasn't passed the sector 1 yet.
Is it showing him in the pit lane? I think he may have been disconnected or tagged, or some misfortunes befallen him, and that's a real shame that his challenge is over already. As we see, I think from 4th place onwards, they're all really pushed up going into turn 9. We see a stray cone lying by the track there. So a little bit of drama already, but all calm up front for Marc Perez, and he just has to focus on making it through. At the end of this lap, he has to focus on getting through the next 11, staying where he is. Already an 8/10 gap there, León. So he looks to be in pretty good shape. And elsewhere, yeah, not seeing too many. Like I said, not too many position changes elsewhere. It's only the first lap. A big Felipe Gil is leading a bit of a train, which is Jordi San Andres behind him, then David Penna, then Daniel Antequera, and the rest from.
Marc Perez already built a big lead, 1.3 seconds in the first lap.
Yeah, another half a second gain there, I think. So
he's certainly doing well this first lap.
So this looks to be, that's car number 11, which is, yes, that's Jordi. So Jordi's got by Felipe Gil. I'm not sure if we saw that, but yes, that's good for Jordi to get that position back, and now I think maybe focus on Perez ahead of him, although they are already a second down. But Felipe Gil, I think we might potentially see him holding up a train as he goes a little bit wide into that little half chicane at turn 7 and 8. Through 9 now, and yes, San Andres breaking away, and Felipe Gil having to defend from David Penna. A bit of a disappointing start from David Penna, but there is still a chance to fight back. Is he going to make a move into turn 10? No, he doesn't dive bomb. So the order remains at the end of lap 1. We had lap 1, this is lap 2, sorry. So Marc Perez leading for 1.2 seconds over Pepe de la Heras. Adrian Perez in 3rd. Jordi San Andres in 4th. Felipe Gil in 5th, David Penna in 6th, Daniel Antequera in 7th, Ibal Andy in 8th, Esteban Tellez in 9th, Fran Castano in 10th. And I thought I saw a position change. It's Felipe Gil and David Penna side by side down the main straight here. Who's going to come out on top? I think Penna has got the inside line. That definitely looks to be at his advantage. But he hasn't had the best of runs. Now he switched to the outside. How's this going to end? Just here we go into turn 1. Felipe Gil hogging the inside, and this allows Dan Antequera to challenge a bit, but he can't quite get past Penna, or he's on the outside into turn 3. Backs out of that one, sensible, I think. Yeah, but yeah, Felipe Gil, really a cork in the bottle here, and you do wonder when the cork is going to pop. Yeah, look, he locked up a little bit into turn 4 there. Someone else locked up even more though. Lots of rubber on the floor there. Not the floor, the racetrack. This isn't a house. This is Barcelona-Catalunya. So anyway, still for the front, still fairly big, but it's at this point, but it's solidified. 1.4 seconds. It's the lead that Perez has over De Heras. Edra Perez losing touch a bit. Another second down. You see. Some are going a little bit wide at turn 9. The guy in 9th position is Esteban Tellez, who's challenging on Andy, who are spectating at the moment. So it seems to be that there's 2 trains forming, the battle for 4th, or the battle for 5th rather, because Felipe goes down to 5th. And the battle for 9th with the battle for 8th rather with on Andy and Tellez. That's what we're watching right now. Can Tellez get a good run on this back straight, Gus? How close is he?
Who?
Oh, he's got the run and he's alongside to the right. I don't think there's much an Andy can do to defend from this one. Yep, into turn 1 and Andy being forced out, I think. Good driving by Tellez. He judged that just about right, left him space. made the move. Oh, he goes a little wide just to get a decent line out of turn 3, I think. And then Andy not having an opportunity to regain his 8th place. So Tellers now focuses on Antequera ahead of him rather than an Andy behind him. And Andy has to worry about not losing further places to Fran Castano in the bright red car there. Oh, in fact, Fran Castano already attacking because it looks like an Andy made a little mistake to turn 4 there. And yeah, I'm sorry, Jess, I didn't realise you were having trouble there. Look, you couldn't see what was going on the track, so I'll try not to challenge you too much on there. I'll try and keep up the speed if I can. But yeah, this is a good little battle here between Tellez and Andy and Castano. Castano had lost out to Lagadera briefly there, who's fighting with him. And we switched to Felipe Gil now in 5th, who is still actually keeping San Andres in touch. But he is definitely still being challenged from behind by the 2 white cars of David Penna and Daniel Antequera. And I think David Penna not quite close enough to execute a move on the main straight here. He was a bit closer than he was on the last couple of laps.
In the meantime, the gap between 3rd and 4th is becoming bigger and bigger. 4 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. It's showing.
Yeah, top 3 is clearly on another level.
Jordi San Andres 6 seconds down on Marc Perez, the leader, whereas Adria Perez and Pepe de Jerez still in 2 seconds of each other. In fact, here we are. We switched to the battle for 2nd place between De La Jerez and Perez. We're at 5 of 12, so we're getting rapidly towards half distance. And
top 3 is the same as in the qualification.
Yes, these 3 definitely the standouts in this semi-final.
So far, De La Heras has indeed denied the top 2 for Marc and Adria Perez.
Yeah, but De Jerez may be under pressure here from Adria Perez. Adria wants to make it a Perez 1-2 here.
Yeah, they are quite close.
That's the fact. Maybe if Adria can get by, can perhaps challenge Marc Perez, although I think it seems a little unlikely. I think Marc has been driving extremely well so far. A 2-second gap, of course.
And he's still
not too easy to close around this circuit. But,
and he's still growing his lead.
Ooh, another move a little bit further down. Lagadara has taken 10th from Castano. Castano was a little bit further up, challenging Anandi earlier. So it seems that he's lost a place now and perhaps made a mistake somewhere. And yeah, here we are. This is that battle. Seeing Lagadera in his 10th place ahead of the bright red car of Castano. So yeah, not sure exactly where that happened. We might get a replay of it. Have to see. Fair enough. Being told that replay is not available, sadly, so we won't be able to see exactly how Lagadera got by Castano. But no matter. Battle at the front still raging on. So how far behind is Adria Perez to Pepe now? He is
3.1 seconds.
Yep. So he has dropped there. That's the gap to the leader, I think. So he's dropped. He was within. I think he's about where he was. He was within about half a second of him, and he's not lost too much ground. You see Lagadera challenging the back of. This is Andy. Andy, one of the guys who's really dropping back in this race a bit. And he's really having to defend like crazy from Lagadera into turn 4. But I don't think Lagadera was going to make a move around the outside. Impossible, but still very difficult to do. And I have to see. Into turn 10, he might have a good chance here, Lagadera. Gets a decent run on the straight. He can't afford for this move to fail, because then that'll put him right back into the clutches of Castano. Still not close enough. He might get the cut back down the inside. Oh, he thinks better of that. And yeah, on Andy looking a little bit messy here. Not too composed in his driving. He's looking like he's constantly trying to keep it on the road rather than trying to pull away. So maybe the tyre's starting to die in these latter stages. And until that Lagardère is sensing that, trying to mount an attack here. And at the front, Marc Perez has increased his lead over De La Harris to 3 seconds now, 3.1434.
Yeah, and the lead compared to fourth place is 10.6 seconds.
Yeah,
He's
so,
rapidly driving away from
I would have
the
thought
rest
that
of the
San
field.
Andreas might have closed them in a little bit, as we see Lagardère is again very close to the back. Ooh, we're seeing the battle for fourth place again.
Yeah, I
it
think
looks like-
Jordi San Andres made a little mistake because he rapidly lost like a few seconds.
Yes, and I think Felipe Gil might have a little go at him into turn 4, but no, that one wasn't quite going to work out there. And although, let's
Really
see,
close,
trying to go around the outside here, he's going to run out of road, and indeed he does so and backs out once again. Yeah, I think you're right there. Jordi Sanders is definitely making a mistake, and the thing is that Felipe Gil's pace seems to have improved a little bit relative to the guys around him. But he's got David Penna right behind him, pushing him all the way. Is David Penna going to try and make a crazy move into turn 9? No, didn't think so. So it looks like turn 10 maybe where we might see 1 or 2 position changes here in this pack. It's good. These guys have been close all race. It's just been good fun to watch. Oh, I thought someone lost it there, but it might just have been lag on my end. Oh no, it wasn't. I think David Penna has messed up. He slid the rear tires out into turn 10, right behind Felipe Gil. He seemed to get caught out there, and that's allowed Daniel Antequera into 6th place. And so David Penna will be very frustrated with that.
We have 3 Bull not finishing this race now.
Oh,
So
yeah, a couple
only
of
19
retirements.
players remaining.
It looked like, so it looks like Felipe Gil really pushing hard to take that 4th place back from San Andres that he lost so long ago earlier in the race. And the fight for 2nd position, of course, is closed up again too. Adria Perez still trying to find a way past Pepe de Harris. This isn't the easiest track to overtake on, but if you time it right, if you plan the move in advance, and the other driver is compliant, of course, and, accepts when the battle's lost, then you can make some really good overtakes here. Like I said, you need to set it up perfectly. You need to get the good run. In racing, a lot of what you do is about bang ahead. And Pepe there is still running a little bit onto the grass just to get the best apex. Oh, as you see, Perez making a little mistake too, running slightly onto the gravel into chicane. They seem to be trying to straight line that chicane, it seems. It's one of the chicanes that you can straight line because it's for a long radius, of course. 4 laps left now. The gap 3.5 seconds from Marc Perez has the lead over De La Harris. The track's about for 8th place now between Les and David Penna ahead of him. Oh no, wait, David Penna's quite way ahead of him, 4 seconds or so. It's actually Lagardère behind who is attacking, sorry. And Lagardère actually made some decent progress in this race. He's gotten into the top 10, passing on Andy as we saw earlier. And I wonder if he can maybe, in the final laps, perhaps challenge the Felipe Gil San Andres group a little bit. I don't think he can maybe make too many places up. He can maybe get past Tellers if he in the time remaining. We'll have to see. And it's really been plain sailing for Marc, because he's driven extremely well in this semi-final so far. And
He's not pushing the limit, it seems. Constantly driving 150.5. But he doesn't need to drive faster. So
yeah, he seems to be really
still
quick and
pulling
really
away.
consistent, which is good news for him, of course. As we watch it, and Andy defending 10th. He's done all right not to drop any more places, lose it to Castano behind. But Andy really under pressure now. And is Castano going to try and move down the inside? He looked like he thought about it, but it seems to have backed out now. But Castano's still there. Is he going to dive down the inside into turn 4? Oh, they hit side by side, and that allows Daniel Bühler, who we've not talked about much in this race, to almost have a look at getting past both of them. And Castano starts the inside again. Oh, and they touch wheels once more. This is great stuff here. I think Anandi's lost out to 2 drivers there because Bulu's going around the outside of him too. Oh, this is going to end in tears if they're not careful. Oh, he's pushing Bula out there. That's a little naughty, but they're still alongside. There's another battle going on a little bit behind them between is that Victor Rula and Miguel Razula. As you see another place change further up, I think Daniel Penna has got back past Antequera after his mistake earlier. So so that's good news for Daniel Penna, for David Penna rather, not mixing up names now. And but yeah, real tense piece of action there, the battle for 10th place. Frank Castano really being the beneficiary there, making a good move, forcing the hand of Anandi. And Daniel Buller, a bit of opportunism, take advantage as well. Very hard fought positions, even though all 3 of them were getting through anyway. It's great to see them really fighting tooth and nail for every little position they can get. As we see,
the battle for 2nd place is got less.
Yeah, they seem to have
seem
spread
to have
apart a
dropped,
bit.
or the Pepo de Los Heroes has just driven really good the last laps because they're now 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, he's
from each
become
other.
a bit more consistent. I think Perez has made a few more mistakes trying to catch up with him. There's still 2 laps left in the race, so I think De La Harris isn't out of the woods yet. Still needs to defend. But yeah, Mark Perez looks like it's been plain sailing though, and be a fairly comfortable victory for him if he just keeps going. Who's close to him? We'll go for 4th between San Andres, Felipe Gil, David Penna, and Antequera. Still pretty close together. They're all within about 2 seconds. And San Andres going through turn 10 there and really having to defend once more from Felipe Gil. Gil didn't have the best start to the race, but seems to have really shone a bit here as San Andres is starting to fade in his late stages. I wonder if that's to do with their relative tyre wear situations. Possible to say though without being in the driver's. Oh, bumping right into the rear bumper there. Rubbing his racing, I guess. And Felipe Gil, of course, in turn being drafted a little bit by David Penna. And David Penna really recovering the time he lost earlier. And all 3 of them right in a row together. There's almost nothing to separate them, as Felipe Gil is around the outside, but he hasn't really got a wheel alongside there. Is he going to force a mistake here on the penultimate lap? As all 4 of them bunch up once more. And looks like San Andres going to have to defend on the inside here if he wants to keep Gil behind him. And
the
Gil
15th.
Also on the inside. Oh, what's happened?
15th place actually has been overtaken by Juan Jurado.
Ah,
So we have,
Jurado. I did speak a little bit. That was going to be the crucial one there. Who's lost out then?
Gabriel Martin Alvarado seems to have passed. Is now on 16th place with 1 lap
Oh,
to
I
go.
think Felipe Gil, I just thought they're
Two
very
laps.
close here. I don't think any positions have changed yet, but Felipe Gil was under attack from David Penna there. Oh, Penna being spun out. A big collision there between Penna and Antequera. They've been together all race, and now it seems that they've collided again and lost a bit of time. I think they're both still on the road there, thank goodness, but Penna looking a bit frustrated there. Antequera has constantly undone him. Or, well, I see a cone lying in the middle of the racetrack. I wonder if that's had anything to do with what happened to was it Alvarez who crashed out? Or lost positions, rather. Big gap up front as we move into the last lap now, with Mark Perez 4.7 seconds ahead of De La Harris. It's been a mighty performance, and I wonder if he's going to get anywhere near to the likes of Kvitniewski and Balesta tomorrow. That'll be very interesting to see. But that tense battle for 4th place, Jordi San Andres having to really holding it by the skin of his teeth right now. And I think Felipe Gil is going to have to try something special here, but I think David Penna is more likely to get past Gil here, because he's been the one that's been really strong. As you see, it's running right off the track there, Felipe Gil. And, well, that might have been lag, I guess, but definitely looked a bit alarming. And David Penna still challenging into turn 3. Looks like they're all trying to fight over the same real estate. And Felipe Gil on the inside has got through past San Andres. And so has Penna. Yes, Penna has done it. A really good move there. And I think San Andres really struggling now. And can David Penna gain one more place to take 4th, as you see Antequera almost getting past San Andres as well. But San Andres defends it this time. And is Felipe Gil going to hold it together in the last part of the lap? Marc Perez can't be far from crossing the finish line now. Ooh. As we see, yeah, I think. Is that Penna on the inside almost, getting ready for an attack? I don't think so. He's still just a little bit too far behind. But Gil, who is a bad run out of the last corner it can have, as Marc Perez crosses the line and wins the second semi-final in Barcelona. De Harris in second, Perez in third. So they're all finished. And is Felipe Gil going to come home in 4th? I think he will. We'll have to wait and see. It's a big gap. Of course, both very close together, but Felipe Gil has enough in hand to take 4th place from David Penna. Jordi San Andres dropping to 6th at the end with that little mistake on the penultimate lap into turn, well, the last lap rather, into turn 4. And then it's Daniel Antequera, who can quite take advantage. Esteban Tellez in 8th. Carlos Lagadera in 9th. Frank Castano in 10th. Daniel Brule in 11th. Victor Irula in 12th. Jose Miguel Rosillo in 13th. Ibal Anandi in 14th. And then Juan Jurado in 15th. They will all be back tomorrow for the final. But those who didn't make it were Gabriel Martin Alvarado, as you mentioned, Joss. Just missing out and fading at the end.
Just got knocked in the 11th lap by Juan Jurado.
Yeah. Edouard Bedoya, who did qualify last, has gained a few positions, as I suggested he might. He was in 17th, so it's I think they all still score points, even if they don't finish in the top 15 rather. But it's not so many points, obviously. And then behind Edouard Bedoya, there's Juan Carlos Gomez, had a bit of a rough day, just finishing now. And then it's Jose Luis Calvo, Joan Rieg, Miguel A. Estevez, and Ivan San Jose. 4 retirements on Calvo actually falling out late on lap 10, which is a little bit sad to see, but great news.
Nandi actually didn't do that well in the race either. He qualified in 6th or somewhere in the 6th to 8th area, and he was there for a long time in the race, but now he fell back to 14th in the end, but he is going through.
Yeah. Could just be a case that he needs to work on his race pace, time management, perhaps. We'll see. But Marc Perez delighted with that win. Really, it was a perfect race where everything went to plan. The start was good. He managed the tyres well. He didn't push himself too harder than he needed to, and that was really the secret here. Everything fell his way, of course, the way it worked out, but he didn't make any mistakes when the pressure was on, especially in qualifying, of course. So I wonder if we're actually going to get an interview of our top 3. I'm not too sure. It depends, of course, if they've got good grasp with English. I'm not trying to be insulting there, but yeah. Actually, that does come across as a bit insulting. I could try a bit of Spanish, but it's me that's the problem, because I don't know that much Spanish. But I haven't done Spanish since school, so. But anyway, like I said, a great performance from Marc Perez. Who else was impressive in this race? De La Harris holding on, of course, from Drew Perez, and really keeping it together in the end. It's a fairly impressive drive, definitely pretty strong. Felipe Gil, I thought, did very well after a troubled start as well, to recover and get back into 4th place. And David Penna as well, also having a bit of trouble in that race, but recovering into 5th. San Andres, other way, had a bit of a reversal of fortunes compared to those 3, because he started very well, got into 4th place, and then towards the end maybe pushed a bit hard, made a mistake, and lost 2 places because of it. And then we have Antequera, who was all right. That sounds dismissive, but he kept it together, which is commendable. Who else stood out? Castano did fairly well as well. Made a pretty good move on. Who was it? Was it Gerardo? No, it can't have been. And there was a good fight between Castano, Bullet, and on Andy. That was it. Yeah, I thought Andy was a little bit disappointed. And Gerardo did well to get into that 15th place, of course. So that was the race then. I think it's time to finish up. We have I believe, what time is the final on tomorrow? It's on
14.
Yes, it's on
The 14th.
That would be 2 p.m. then.
Yes.
So we'll be back with, I think, Rene and Lee will be covering that one tomorrow. The two finals, of course, because there's race 1 and then the reverse grid race followed immediately. But anyway, it was really fun watching those two semi-finals, and we hope you enjoy the final tomorrow as we see more challengers fighting each other out for the León Cupra Eurocup. So thanks for watching with me and Jos. See you next time. Goodbye.